From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 211 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives, with a point of view that is somewhere in the middle. And although we are three middle-class guys, this week we are one middle-class guy and a middle-class gal.
Hi.
My name's Kendall, and I'm here with my wife, Amy. She's joining me this week. And, Kory and Dillon are out, and we talk about a few things. We spend the first, 10-15 minutes of this episode trying to figure out what the heck it is my brilliant wife does for a living. And then we talk a little bit more about goings-ons as it pertains to 4th of July and fireworks and unruly children and how we feel like we're getting old because we may or may not understand what our Gen Z counterparts at work are saying. Enjoy the episode, guys.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
Hi, everybody. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.
It is the day after Independence Day when this episode is releasing, but it is Independence Day as we are recording. I am here, Kendall, with my wife, Amy. Amy, say hi.
Hi.
And that was loud. And, oh, great.
Can't control myself.
We're having sound check issues. Dylan and Kory are having, hopefully, a wonderful week with their grandfather, I believe, and in a place where they don't have internet, but it's okay because they're enjoying their grandfather and their family and having a good vacation week together, and we certainly hope that they have a good one. And I am here holding down the fort for this weekly episode with my wife. And a lot of you know some things about her, and I know some things about her too. But there's one thing in our 10 years of marriage that I still don't quite understand. And I thought it would be a fun exercise to have one of these conversations where I'm trying to figure out what the heck it is you do for a living. So I know that you work in a hospital.
That is true.
And they call you the clinical lab director. Is that right?
One of the clinical lab directors.
One of the clinical lab directors. Okay. And I know that the lab is the place that when they take samples of things from people's bodies, they send it to the lab, right?
Yes.
And the lab is who's processing things.
That is correct.
And doing whatnot. And you're directing that.
Yes.
You are a PhD.
I have a PhD.
You have a PhD. You are a PhD? Is that?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. You have a PhD. And you're considered, I think, you don't correct me yet, like a clinical chemist. But you tell me that you don't know much about chemistry, that biology is your thing. But you're not really either one of those things legally. Your degree, you're a pathologist. You have a degree in pathology. That's what your PhD is in.
Yes.
And here's where I want to start, because I think a lot of people probably don't understand what a pathologist is.
Okay.
And until I married you, my assumption was a pathologist was somebody who does autopsies. Mm-hmm. And the reason I thought that was because when I was a teenager, I watched the X-Files, and Scully on the X-Files is a pathologist.
Yeah. And
so my impression was that she did autisms? Golly. What's the word? Autopsies. Have I been saying autisms this whole time? I hope not. Okay. So. I don't know. So
do you want me to just start talking?
What is a pathologist?
There's, generally speaking, when you think of a pathologist, it's somebody who does autopsies and biopsies and basically looks at anything that you take, anything solid, like a tissue that you take out of a human body, and they look at it under a microscope. But that's actually anatomic pathology, which is a big chunk of pathology. And when you think about a pathologist, that's usually what you think of. They're medical doctors. They're either MDs or DOs. They do a residency in anatomic pathology, but they can also do residency in surgical pathology, or excuse me, in clinical pathology. And then clinical pathology also has this little niche where PhDs can work. And so clinical pathology is testing all the things that you take out of the human body that aren't solid. So various liquids and fluids. You can do hematology, which is the cells in our blood, and they look at those using analyzers, but also under a microscope. That's usually the medical doctors that do that. And then PhDs tend to do things like genetic testing, microbiology. So that's looking at things that aren't supposed to be in blood, microorganisms in our blood and body fluids. Coagulation, which is how our blood clots. And then I do clinical chemistry, which is the analysis of stuff that's dissolved in our blood. So like when you go to the doctor and you get your blood drawn and they send it to the lab to measure your cholesterol or your A1C or thyroid, like that's all done in my lab. And so I'm not actually the one doing the testing. Those are medical technologists, which is a unique degree program, a really good field of work if anybody's interested.
My understanding is they're hurting for people.
They are.
Like right now we're telling everybody to go be a welder, and now like people are going to go be welders, and so in a while we're going to have too many welders. But right now we're also telling you to go be a tech person in a lab.
Medical technologist. Who said to be a I mean, we do need welders. That pays well too. Anyhow, so the people that actually do the work day in and day out, and it's usually a 24/7 operation in a hospital, or medical technologists. And then there's like supervisors and managers who like take care of all the personnel stuff and finance issues. And then there's usually like a technical or scientific arm part of the lab, and that's where I am. So I'm in charge of like developing new tests and troubleshooting tests when they go wrong. I work closely with the management side as well, but that's the basic idea. A little bit of, but it's a lot of troubleshooting. It's a lot of sitting at my desk, and I do work with doctors and clinicians when they have questions about their lab results.
Okay, so that's what a pathologist is.
That's what a chemist is.
So did you know all of that about pathology when you got into it? Did you?
No.
Or are you disappointed that you're not doing autopsies now? That
Gosh, I don't. I never wanted to be. No, I don't. I never sought out to be a pathologist. I really liked science when I was in college.
Uh-huh.
I did all my summers. Like I did summer internships, and I really wanted to be a research scientist. And then I did my PhD program, which is really great. If you like science, it's a good thing to do. There's not a lot you can do with a bachelor's degree in science. So you kind of have to go on to do higher education. So I just want to be a research scientist. The thing is, you have to be like going to grad school is one thing, but then like being the person that runs a research lab after grad school, you've got to get your own funding, and writing grants and getting grant support is brutal. Okay. And I didn't want to do that, so I had to find something else to do.
Okay.
And that's when I learned about clinical chemistry.
Okay, so what I can understand the lab and what it is, and that you're the director of it, and I can understand a lot of things that you don't do. But like, so what is a day? And you're like, are you scheduling people? What are you doing?
I'm usually analyzing data. Looking at data, looking at a lot of
For what? What are you looking for? For why?
So for our tests that we're running, so I oversee the chemistry and the special chemistry areas. That covers probably close to 100 different tests. So like all, sodium and potassium and glucose, blood sugar, cholesterol, and then hormones, stuff like that. So all of those different tests we run quality control on several times a day, multiple levels, and we have to look at the results and make sure, based on those results, if we're going to release patient results.
So you're basically like auditing things?
That's one little part of it. If things go, it's more like when things go wrong, the techs will bring it to me and we'll try to do some troubleshooting to figure out how to fix it.
So what would you say, like, the most common thing that comes across your desk that you have to handle is?
I review a lot of calibrations, so that's just like, this is so boring and technical.
You don't have to get technical. Give me
very roughly. Like, we just have to, in order to make sure that
fixing stuff.
If you are, it's fixing stuff. Do a lot of troubleshooting, right? So if you say, we have various ways of saying, like, if the sodium is supposed to be 137, I put on this solution and it's supposed to run 137 each time. And if it doesn't, we got to figure out why and make sure that we get back to running at that level.
Okay, cool. So you do that. And then I know that you've also mentioned that you develop tests as well.
So usually the kind of tests that I'm developing are, everything is kind of put together in a kit and we put it on and we just have to validate it. So just put it through various predefined steps and tests to determine its robustness and show that it consistently measures what it's supposed to at the right concentration.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what it is you do. I don't need to know how to do it.
Then I have to write that up. So, like, I'll tell somebody to go run those tests and they bring me the data and I put the data into Excel spreadsheets.
Okay.
And then I write up what it looks like.
Okay.
And interpret it.
So you develop tests, but some of them are not necessarily tested. Like, you dreamed up the way to do it.
No.
So, but that's what I think. So when I'm saying, like, developing tests, I'm thinking, like, there isn't something out there to test for this and these kids in this area, and I need to make it. So my colleagues in the lab, there are other lab sections that do that. Just my lab section is just it's automated chemistry, and so it's all pre-made stuff. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. And you write papers. You teach.
I do have.
And you write textbooks.
I do have a So I am I have an appointment at an academic medical center, and so I do have an academic requirement, and so I have some research that I do. I do kind of research into, like, the best ways to handle biological specimens. I also work with some endocrinologists on, like, developing the best ways to do certain tests. And I do teach at the medical center. I teach I teach a few lectures each year in one of the medical technology classes.
Okay.
For that degree program.
Okay. So, what Amy does at work, and this is why, like, I want you guys to understand out there why it's been 10 years and I don't understand. Like, I can't put into, like, a sentence what Amy does, other than just saying she's a clinical lab director at Children's Hospital. You make sure that blood tests are running properly. You fix them when they're not. You develop tests that you guys need to start running.
Yep.
And then you do some research for the purposes of academia.
Yeah.
And does that basically cover it?
The last thing I do is consult with clinicians.
That's
That's kind of my favorite part of the job.
Yeah.
It's
and there's
the saddest part of my job.
There is, I mean, in a children's hospital, like, I mean, there are some things that you hear of that, like, it just breaks your heart that, like, somebody has to look into this at a children's hospital. And we don't need to get into those things, but it can get quite depressing on some of but the way I think about it, by the time for a case to kind of come to Amy's attention, it's got to be bad. And
I've had to go see a patient, I think 3 times. I mean, right, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't usually go to see patients. I think I've done it 3 or 4 times, and that is because something is wrong with that person, and I need to supervise their blood collection or something. So you don't want to see me if you're a patient. You hope that your doctor's not talking to me, because that means something's not working. But yeah, usually 99% of the time, everything goes smoothly.
Okay. So that is my wife and what she does. We're going to get to some more fun topics, some more timely topics.
No one's going to still be listening. Is anybody still listening?
We'll find out after we hear from some of our friends in On Pod's Beauty.
Hey, I'm Lauren,
And I'm John.
and we host the Beard Al Podcast, the podcast where we talk about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al.
And a lot of other things. We're funny.
Yeah, that's basically what I told him to say. Good job with your
I
script.
listen.
Yay! But no, seriously, we try and pair a beer with a Weird Al song and talk about both things and go where the conversation takes us. It's fun, I promise. You'll like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like talking about random things as well as, fine craft beers and some wonderful craft music.
And we're back. We're back.
So, Kendall told me to think about things that we could talk about, and he suggested that I talk about pet peeves that I have of him, and I feel like that is just an opportunity to just launch us into therapy, and I don't feel like that's a good idea. So I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. So I was thinking about
That bad, huh?
well, some of the things on the podcast that I've really enjoyed on this podcast over the years is the pet peeves episodes are really popular. But when you get into specifically doing it between a husband and wife, like not a good idea. But something else I have enjoyed is y'all's attempts at understanding pop culture outside of nerddom.
Okay.
And
Nerddom.
I don't usually know what's going on with the nerdy things. Certainly, I mean, I've watched some Marvel movies and most
We like
of the
to
Star
call it
Wars
geeky.
stuff. Okay, whatever. Dorks. So that's fine, whatever. But there are times when I listen to this podcast every week. It's my husband. I love my husband. It's his podcast. I do enjoy it. But in particular, the things that drive me nuts and make me just cringe so deeply are when you take quizzes about what words mean, what teenage words mean. You've done it, I think, twice. And so I often find myself going like, you dum-dums, this means, you should know what this means, whatever. Especially Kory, who has a teenage daughter and another daughter who's almost a teenager. So I pulled up some Gen Z office speak or Gen Z text speak quiz options.
So these are what are these things that Gen Z says?
Gen Z, which I think is
You said text speak, not office speak. Text speak.
text speak.
Text.
It's like what the kids say to each other.
Right.
But the first one I'm going to ask you is ones that you would hear in an office setting. So like 20-somethings in an office.
Okay.
You ready?
So these are these things that you knew?
Okay, well, I thought I would know these because you know that meme of Steve Buscemi and he's clearly like an old guy and he's dressed like a teenager and he's like, "Hi, I'm one of the kids." I feel like I thought I had my finger on the pulse of what the kids were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew. And maybe I don't know so well. So I have two quizzes. I have one I'm going to quiz you.
Okay.
And then you're going to give me one. There may be some overlap.
Okay.
I didn't make this quiz. This quiz is from the Washington Post, which is interesting. Is that the one that you get? Is that the newspaper you get, the Washington Post? You get the New York Times?
No, not neither.
Oh.
Wall Street Journal.
Oh, cool. My husband's very snooty. He gets the Wall Street Journal and usually doesn't read it.
This is why I don't understand Gen Z, because I'm one of the few millennials who's actually getting a physical newspaper delivered to his house every morning.
Okay, so pretend that you're at work in your office, and your Gen Z colleague reacts to something you said in like a text situation,
Okay,
and they give
yeah.
you the skull emoji. What is this person likely conveying? Laughter, the end of life, destruction, or Halloween?
Laughter.
Yes. Do you know why? Do you like?
They're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's so funny. It
It killed me. Yeah.
2, you assign your Gen Z. Well, actually, I assume that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Forgot to actually enter it. 2, you assign your Gen Z colleague a task on Slack and end the sentence with a period. What's risky about this message? A, Gen Z hates Slack. B, Gen Z only reads messages that arrive via email. We all know that's not true. 3, C, Gen Z might interpret the period as a mere suggestion versus an assignment. And D, Gen Z might interpret the period as a sign of anger or coldness.
D.
Yeah, that is correct.
I think about, like, I'm one of the people in texting that uses exclamation points way too often because I don't want a period to be misconstrued. And I have ideas about punctuation and how there's a couple of punctuation marks that we need to come up with and add. And anger is one of them. Anyway.
I mean, why don't we just circle back to that later?
We don't have to.
Well, maybe just offline. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So my mom she's a nurse. She's retired now, but she did like a desk job for a long time. And I think the medical software that she like was in most of the time, she had to be in caps lock. I know that's often the case at my job, but she would not come out of caps lock when she would send emails. So like, she just like casually sent me an email during the day screaming at me.
Yeah.
And apparently like one of her coworkers went to HR once and was like, Pam is always mad. She's always screaming in her emails. And my mom just didn't understand the perception of what all caps meant.
Yeah.
So that is truly an interesting workplace dynamic. Okay. 3, you say you're going to be, quote, out of pocket for a week. Your Gen Z colleague is confused. Why? A, they think your clothing is out of pockets. B, they assume you're lost. C, they think it's a warning you're going to be wild or crazy. And D, they think you've run out of money.
D, they think you've run out of money.
I believe, yes, it is C. They think you're warning you're going to be wild or crazy. Out of pocket for them means wild or crazy.
What?
To me, it means you're going to be on vacation. I think.
I don't know. To me, it means you're paying for it yourself.
Oh, out of pocket.
Yeah. I didn't know there was another way to take that. And I'm just now learning that there's 2 other ways.
Well, apparently out of pocket means you're acting crazy if you're a kid, a young person.
Did anybody teach Gen Z I feel like nobody's teaching Gen Z anything, and they're just...
It's on social media. They're just learning it from each other.
They're just learning
it, but it...
I feel like there's like one person who like misunderstands what a phrase means, and they're popular enough that the rest of Gen Z, because of the internet, hears what that interpretation is, and they change. I don't get it.
I think that is possible. Oh man, this is me. This is my problem. 4, you send an email to a Gen Z colleague asking the person to complete a task. You add a smiley face emoji at the end of your paragraph. Now, to me, that means like, I'm trying to be nice. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, ordering you to do something, right? Your Gen Z colleague becomes worried. Why? A, your colleague doesn't want more work. B, the emoji makes your colleague think something is wrong. C, the emoji makes your colleague think you're happy there's more work. D, your colleague hates emojis. I don't know the answer to this one. I think it's
C.
Yeah, the colleague thinks you're happy there's more work. No. The emoji makes your colleague think something is wrong.
Why does
Gen Z often finds greater nuance in different smiley face emojis. So this is like a standard fat smiley face emoji. The range in different smileys offers a diversity in the level of enthusiasm a Gen Z person might express in a text-based message. But the plain smiley face, which is like the colon and close parentheses, gets like, our computers will usually like turn it into an emoji, doesn't emit much enthusiasm, and could come across as passive-aggressive.
This is crazy to me.
All right, there's 2 more questions.
Why are we looking for nuance in a smiley face? Like, why?
And these kids have grown up on emojis. Like, they are much more, I think, attuned to the subtleties.
Yeah.
Again, my mom, do you remember the time that I had to tell her that the poop emoji was not a chocolate chip emoji?
No. As a matter of fact, it's not even a poop emoji. It just has been what we've interpreted it as.
No,
now.
it's the poop emoji. If you have Siri read you a message.
I know. I think it was supposed to be a chocolate ice cream emoji, and then it quickly turned into a poop emoji.
Well, it's a poop emoji now. It was never a chocolate chip.
That is true.
I guess what I'm saying is like each generation, I think, gets a little bit more adept at the subtleties of these kind of novel, newer modes of communication. Okay, 5. Your Gen Z colleague responds to something you said with a painting nails emoji. What is this person expressing? See, it's like a little hand and they're painting the nails.
All right, go ahead.
It's time for a manicure. B, your colleague is suggesting sass, pettiness, or nonchalant confidence. C, your colleague is extremely bored and has nothing to do. D, your colleague's nails are chipped.
I mean, it's got to be B or C. I'm going to say B.
They're expressing sass, pettiness, or nonchalance. Yes.
Okay.
A Gen Z is going for non-literal meaning with the nails emoji. Yeah, cool. We're just doing our nails and not caring about what else is happening. Okay, last one. Your Gen Z colleague responds to you with the word slay. What does this person likely mean? A, go kill something. B, you got killed at beaten by something. C, kudos, awesome job. D, defeat the dragon.
I think it's kudos / awesome job.
I think so too. Yeah.
Okay, that one's
okay.
So a few of those are not just
Yeah,
Gen Z, like it is.
All right. Here.
So I'm doing one for you now?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We'll do 5 of them. How about that? Or we did United 6. Which of the following is another word for uncool? Skirt, shoogie, or bet?
Shoogie.
Shoogie.
Yeah. I think that's the word that like they often use to refer to their boring parents.
That was one of the ones that we came across.
Yeah.
In an earlier episode, whenever that was. If something slaps, this one's easy. It is excellent or amazing, surprising or scary, beautiful or handsome.
I think excellent or amazing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally. What does snatched mean?
That means
Stolen, fierce or on point, or exhausted?
fierce or on point.
You're doing good.
You know that one.
No. Which of the following means a look or style that is extremely fashionable or sexy? Bussin', bet, or drip?
I think all of those. I'm embarrassed for myself. I think all of those are good things, but I think drip is the one that refers to fashion.
To clothing. Bussin' is what I would use for food.
Yeah. Okay.
But other things can be bussin'.
The guy the other day we were on vacation and there was a guy in a hotel talking about pizza and he kept saying it was fire.
Well, yeah.
But
Wait, I feel like we know what that means, right? Was it today?
But no, I think if he were younger, he'd be saying bussin'.
Today, as one of the elder millennials, we were at the 4th of July parade in our local community, and there's a guy who's going to be running for mayor, and he was walking in the parade.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed his drip.
It sounds gross.
And if we were voting on drip,
Ugh,
I'd be voting for that guy.
Stop talking like that.
What? Dude had drip. What does no cap mean? No lie, for real. B, chill or without stress. Or number 3, not cool.
Do you know what this one is?
No cap. I would say no cap. No, I don't know what this one is.
I think the reason I know this is because there's TikToks where they do cap or fact, and I watch some medical TikToks, and so they'll have like medical myths, and they'll say is this true or false. So cap means lie, fact means true.
Okay.
So no cap means no lie or for real. I think yes.
No lie. All right. So part of your job is you do cap inspections. And okay, I get it now.
That means the College of American Pathologists.
Right. Which of the following words is an insult for men who are seen as being too submissive to women? Vibing, simp, or okay boomer?
Simp.
Simp. All right.
What is that? Do you know what that's from? It's
no.
I feel like it's a dominatrix.
Is that where it
Related
came
word?
from? I can see that.
I don't know.
Gen Z. We learned some things.
Drip still just grosses me out.
Why?
It sounds gross. I don't know.
Is it like moist?
Yeah.
Moist
Yeah.
drip?
Yeah. You talking about the mayoral candidate? That way just sounds like it's wrong. I don't like it. It's really gross.
So.
Ew.
Okay.
Ew.
Yeah. We so the past 2 days, last night we went to our community fireworks, which was a spectacular show. And our town really puts on a good show. And there's a community, municipal, publicly owned golf course.
We're talking about, this is a suburb, right? It's not the bigger city of Columbus. This is a suburb.
Right. And so, like, the whole town and surrounding people, because there's more people, there's a lot of people there. And there's, like, food trucks, and not just, like, 2 or 3, like, a bunch of food trucks. Yeah. And there's actual vendors there as well, and that are not food trucks. And there's live music with a pro stage, and they haul in the fancier porta potties on trailers.
They're still porta potties.
So bathrooms on trailers, and the golf course like just fills up with people, and then they do the fireworks, and the whole thing is like 5 hours long. It's a big party. It's fun. And we went last night, and one of the things that they do, you're on a golf course, and if you know anything about golf courses, the grounds people really want to protect their greens. That's why they don't allow golf carts onto the putting areas. And so forth. And so they don't want crowds of people trampling all over their well-manicured greens. And so they use caution tape to rope off all of the greens. And every year that our family has gone to the fireworks, we sat in the same spot. We pull up right behind one of the greens. So we're like 3 feet away from the caution tape. Gives us a little bit of leg room. We know there's going to be nobody in front of us. And this year it started off with 2 boys, one of whom was like 3, doesn't know any other better. The other one was like, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
Something like that.
And they just start like running around chasing each other on the green. And I look toward that kid's family, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if they know where their kids are. I almost want to help them.
Speaking of kids
interrupting things.
Here's Joel. He's suddenly very shy.
Say hi, Joel.
Jolie, say hi. Say it real loud.
Come here.
Hi.
We can't see you. Get up here. Lean in. There it
Hi.
is. Okay.
So the kids are running around.
Kids are running around.
Where they should not be, because
Where
there's
they shouldn't
clearly
be.
caution tape marked off.
And so I look back at the parents, and the parents are aware that this is going on, and they just don't care. And I understand that it's just 2 kids. But the annoying thing about that is inevitably 2 kids is going to turn into 15 kids.
Yeah, because then other kids think it's okay. In particular, there were 3 kids, older boys, maybe like 10, 11, 12, who came over. And I think one of them had accidentally kicked a ball into that area. And they were like trying to decide if they were allowed to go in to retrieve it. And one boy was a little more brazen, and he went in. And the other 2 were like, no, don't do it. You can't go in there. And they were clearly trying to do the right thing. But yeah, it was kind of ruined because the other kids were already in there. So it must have been okay. And then I think they went in, and then their friends came.
Yeah.
And by the time the fireworks were actually going off, there were 10 older elementary school age boys running around like maniacs on the green.
Like playing tag and rolling around and
being kids.
It's one of those, yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's the classic, I can't blame the kids situation. I have to blame the parents. And for like, half of those kids were old enough that their parents probably just sent them off to go do whatever. But like the parents of the younger kids who like knew it probably even told them to like go over there and leave them alone to run around or something. I don't know. This is when we're speaking about Gen Z and millennials and how and sort of realizing that age is catching up with me, not only physically but socially. Is this am I becoming, is this attitude a get off my lawn old guy attitude?
I think so. I
don't mind that the kids are playing. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that, did you not see the caution tape there? Everybody else around here is staying off the green, and then you let your kids onto it.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a Karen, and that kept me from saying anything, but I really wanted to run up and yell at those kids. But I knew that that would be really socially unacceptable. But yeah, I definitely think that was our get off the lawn kind of moment. I mean, it's very literally kids running around on grass.
and I wanted to yell at them to go away.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know. That's where we need. That's your chime in moment. Let us know.
Well, and
how
really,
we are.
I want to know, like, should we have said something? We didn't. We did. You know, I mean, we made some snide remarks about it to each other, and I probably, if the parents were near enough that they could have heard, I would not have minded if they heard, but I don't think they could have.
Right.
But should we have said something? I mean, in hindsight, I kind of wish we had just gone up to the parents and just been like, "Hey, can you get your kids off the green? There's caution tape up."
Sure.
I don't know. But they also, like, the grass was wet, but it wasn't, so I don't think they actually did a lot of damage to the grass.
I mean, it was dark by the time everything was over, so we don't know.
Should we have said something? Or did we do the right thing by not saying anything?
Yeah, chime in. Let us know that. Anything else? This feels like a good...
Okay. I was going to ask what you've been streaming.
You're going to ask what I've been streaming?
I didn't tell you what I've been streaming.
What have you been streaming? I haven't been streaming anything. Me neither.
We've been on vacation for the last week, so
yeah, we're going to talk more about that. So next week,
and not streaming anything.
I'm hoping that next week that Kory, Dillon, and I, we will all have stories from vacations and travels, and that's what's on tap for next week. That's why I haven't talked about it much this week. Here's a little sneak preview. If you're on the YouTubes, you can see that I have this little guy right here. This little guy right there.
If they're not on YouTube, should I describe it? Or is this intended to drive them there?
No, I'm not. I don't care if people watch the YouTube channel or not.
We'll see it next week.
I mean, I don't mean that. Go watch the YouTube channel. But the problem with that is that if you switch from the podcast thing to the YouTube thing, then we lose a podcast thing. And you know, it becomes one of those weird things of which one would I rather have. And
as a podcast subscribe, I apparently am one of the few people remaining or who continues to listen to their podcast on Stitcher.
But
if anybody still uses Stitcher, they are sunsetting that platform very soon. I just got a notice. Yeah, so
Stitcher's going away, huh?
You need to move all your subscriptions to another streaming platform.
Yeah, I mean, Apple is still one of my favorite ones. We like to send people over to Good Pods. Because Good Pods is they're really doing something cool over there. They're creating a community kind of thing where it's kind of more of a social experience as well. So you can listen to it like any other podcast player. It works like any other, but they add things like groups and commenting, and you can see what your friends are listening to and interact and those kinds of things. So
I at one point I had tried to move everything over to Spotify. But I found it, like, when I want to listen to music, I want to listen to music. And when I want to listen to podcasts, that's what I want to listen to. And Spotify kind of nixed them. I wanted a podcast tab.
Yeah.
But they're all blended together. And I cannot, I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain to me how they manage that. But it was very painful to me.
Cool.
Sorry.
So Spotify fixed that.
Yeah. Spotify.
But in the meantime, everybody go to Good Pods.
Is Good Pods an app?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Good Pods app.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Amy, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think I don't know if somebody were to ask me tomorrow what you do at work. I probably
still don't know.
Would tell them I know that she's not Scully.
Not autopsying aliens.
Not autopsying aliens, which is kind of. I don't want to say it's disappointing, but
did you marry me thinking
that might be? That might be what I tell people instead.
Fine.
She does autopsies on aliens. Anyway, have a good week, guys. Artius Man is a company that we're affiliated with, and not only that, but I buy all on my own with our hard-earned money. Shampoo and soap and beard oil and that kind of stuff,
good.
because it smells amazing. She likes it. I like it. It feels good. It gives my scalp the tinglies, and it gives my beard the smooth and shinies.
So he's dripping. No.
I've got that's not drip.
not it.
That's not drip. Well, I guess the look of the beard could be part of the drip.
Bussin'?
Maybe. I don't know. Is that just food? We don't know. Artius Man is awesome, and that is no cap.
Yeah.
Is it? Yes, I did it.
That's right.
Go to artiusman.com, artiusman.com, and tell them that From the Middle sent you when you're at the checkout, and you'll get a discount if it's your first time, and it helps us. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Have a good week.
Bye.